Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody. I am Donna, and I'm really excited that you've joined us today. What happens on this show is pretty unique. I'm really here to help lift you and help you find your way with your body and use these special tools that I have found that have helped me in so many ways and thousands of others to really show you how you're doing on this journey called life and to really make your body and your mind connect together in a way where you experience wellness, just like I have. It's so much fun when you really get a handle on this and when you really understand what's actually going on inside of you. It gives you a little wisdom, it gives you a little understanding, and you're able to do it better and more effectively. And I hope that's what these podcasts will be for you. I hope they'll help you and inspire you. I've had my share of tears and sickness and disease, and with a really grateful heart, I have found incredible wellness that I didn't even really know existed. And I struggled for many years to find answers to my health problems that perplex my family and myself. And then I tuned my mind and actions to wellness, and I watched the answers I was seeking come to me. And those answers really came to me in a very surprising way. I called them angels in the form of microbes that infused my foods with probiotic organisms that changed my food. And when I consumed them, it changed me profoundly. In the beginning, there was a lot of skeptics, including my family. These foods, we can call them cultured or fermented. It means the same thing. And they really defy current conceptions of making and preserving foods. But this method called lactofermentation is the more technical name. It infuses the food with probiotics from the lactobacillus family and from many other strains of good bacteria and good yeast too. And it includes many species and strains, and they preserve the food in a spectacular way. They increase the vitamins and they allow the absorption of nutrients that you need when you eat foods. And it's really an ingenious plan. It really is a powerful way to enhance all the things that your body needs, and especially your microbiome, which is 100 trillion bacteria that lives inside of you and all around you. And when you take care of them, they take care of you because they're doing it every day anyway. And in the very beginning, my husband called these foods that I made on my kitchen counter science projects, until they brought about some healing for him in his own life. And then he changed his tune, and now he eats and helps them. And he also helps me make them too. And they've become a part of our everyday life. And when you find foods that really heal you and make you well, you keep doing it because you connect the dots and say, this food has helped me feel this way. And so you continue to do it because you want to feel that way. And I really didn't have to convince my family. Their own bodies showed them the evidence when they started to consume these foods. And they saw so many things. And each one of them had different experiences. Each one of them needed these cultured foods and for different areas of their life, different health issues. And as I watched them help heal their bodies as a whole, because when the body starts to heal, it wants to heal everything. And so as I watched, each one of them had, for instance, my daughter Macy had IBS. She had food allergies. My daughter Holly had acne and insomnia and low energy. My husband had some vision problems, and his blood pressure got better when he started to consume these foods. It helps my son DJ. It's helped him lose some weight. It's helped him with some digestive issues that he had from early on. And each one of them, in their own way, now does it every day because they saw such a difference, and I really didn't have to convince them. They saw the evidence themselves, and it made all the difference in the world for them to actually reach for these foods because they saw the benefits, and they actually saw the benefits from their own body. So one day, I was in my kitchen, and it was not too long after I started making these foods, and it was the summertime. And a friend came into the kitchen and asked me what those jars were on my kitchen counter. And I was so excited because I had seen the benefits for my family and for myself. And I just loved cultured foods because they made me feel so good. And I told her all about these cultured foods and what they were, and they were probiotic. And I watched her face change expressions. And she looked at me and she said, these jars have been brewing for days on your counter. And I got that sick feeling in my stomach that she was going to say something I didn't like. And I kind of stood there and I thought, okay, here it comes. And she was nice, but she disapproved. And she basically told me she thought I was a loony bin for having foods that were spooling on my counters, that I was crazy. And she had no idea what these foods had done for me. And there was no going back for me. I didn't have diabetes anymore. I didn't have high blood pressure. My daughter's food allergies healed. She didn't have IBS. My husband's eyesight and cataracts improved. And there was just massive amounts of evidence. Even my dogs got better. And, I knew the science behind a lot of it. I knew that this was one of the safest forms of food preservation. And it was even safer than raw foods. Fermenting your foods is safer than raw foods because the billions of bacteria that are good bacteria that are in these jars preserve the foods, make them safe because there's so much good bacteria the pathogens have to stay out. And I tried to explain that to her. She really wasn't listening. And she couldn't understand. She couldn't see it. I was the only one she knew who had ever done this. And she'd already made up her mind, and she thought I was crazy. But I knew, and there was no way I was going back to the life I'd had before them. And it was just complete and utter knowing on my part that these foods had made me well. And I was so grateful. And it didn't matter what she thought. But I did decide that day that I wasn't going to tell anybody else. And that kind of didn't work out so well for me. But for a long time, I didn't tell anybody because I thought, they think I'm crazy. I'm not doing this. I don't want their negative reactions because they have no idea what I've gone through or what I've learned. And throughout history, it usually takes one individual to make a change. And it usually begins with their own life. And at first, people think they're crazy. And then slowly, if they stand firm and live what they believe, others will begin to follow. I have found this to be really true. And here's something else I have learned rather reluctantly. I don't force my beliefs or discoveries on anybody unless they really want to know. And I would see people who are sick and I would want to help them. But if they were not ready, they couldn't hear me. They couldn't understand what I was saying, and they would just block it out. So I really waited until they asked for my help, and I just mostly lived it in front of them until it bothered them enough that they wanted to get healthy, and they would come ask me. And it was really interesting. A lot of my friends, at first, some of them embraced it and some of them didn't. But eventually, it was really fun to watch. So many of them came to me, and the ones who were the biggest skeptics fell the hardest and loved these foods the most. And it was really a joy to watch and see their kids get better, themselves get better, and to know that my own struggles had a part in their healing. Because if I hadn't have struggled, if I hadn't have suffered, if I hadn't have sought the answers and looked for answers for myself, I would have never found them, and I would have never been able to help anybody else. And so it was one of the best things that ever happened to me was getting sick and really sick and really seeking answers, finding them, because sharing them with others has made my life a pure joy. I love helping others find the answers that they need to get healthy and to feel good and to be happy and to live this life that we've all been given. When you don't know any other soul who makes and eats cultured foods, especially if you don't have anybody in your circle of friends who are doing it, then you be the first. You either buy them and start eating them and trying them, or make them. And come hang out with me online, and I will encourage you. And I've got so many different social media and at my website. And I will, if you check my Facebook page or my Instagram, my YouTube channel, I'm always putting stuff on there. And I do that because it was what I would have wanted when I was all by myself, all alone when I first found these foods. I didn't have anybody to really encourage me. And so it was more of a struggle for me because I didn't really have anybody to follow. And so my community I have created to help people to feel like they can not only know how to make these foods, know how to eat these foods, recipes to enjoy them, but give them the knowledge of why they're doing it because it helps them to do it better. And no matter how much my friends and family resisted, one by one, they all succumbed just because I was doing it myself and I was well. And it's a wonderful thing to see people fall in love with these foods like I have. They're fun to make, guys. And they last so long in your fridge. They last months and months in your fridge. And they're sustainable. They often, if you buy a culture, they can last your lifetime. Kefir grains last forever if you take care of them. I've had mine almost 18 years. And they just keep going. And they keep growing and multiplying. My Kombucha SCOBY, my sourdough starter, all these things I bought it once. And I still have them. And I share them with others. And there's not too many things you can find out there that do this. And it's a wonderful thing when you realize that these foods are so nutrient dense. You don't need very much of them. They help enhance your all the foods that you eat with it. They help you get more nutrients from everything. So let's say you have a spoonful of cultured vegetables like with your lunch, and you have maybe a little bit of kombucha with dinner. It's going to help you absorb nutrients from the other foods that you're eating with those foods. And it's going to help you be healthier. And you're going to feel more nourished. You're going to feel more satisfied. You're going to have less crazy cravings and addictions. And I can't say enough about them. They're wonderful. Here's something really interesting. Did you know that you change every room you walk into with your good bacteria? And it happens within minutes of you entering the room. Researchers from the Home Microbiome Project took 7 families, which was 18 people, 3 dogs, and 1 cat, and moved them into new homes across the United States. And they were really surprised to find that quite rapidly the homes were changed to the bacteria they brought with them. The people were ethnically diverse, and not all of them were genetically related. They had a cloud of bacteria with them that followed them into the new homes they went into. And it was such an interesting study when someone would leave the house for a few days, they could discern the person's absence by testing the bacteria. Even in the air and on the surrounding countertops, they knew if the person was coming and going out of the house or if several people were coming and going. They could actually tell who was there, who was not. It was really, really fascinating. And they even found a pathogen. It's called an enterobacteria that was transferred to the kitchen counter, which is considered kind of a pathogen and they found it on one person's hands, and it was picked up by another person's hands. But what was really interesting was that no one got sick because they all had enough good bacteria in their bodies to keep them well. And that pathogen couldn't thrive or make them sick because the good bacteria overwhelmed it. And it didn't affect them in the way that it could have if they weren't healthy. You can't hang out with me for very long without learning about your microbiome. You just can't, because it's just this new leading research. And I've known about it for years, but there's more and more science about it now. And it's getting into the big journals, the science journals. This is such a big field, and we know so little about it, but we're learning more and more about it. And I kind of look at it this way, that good is stronger than evil, and that goes for your bacteria too. You have more healthy strains of good bacteria in your body than you do bad. You are 99% good bacteria, and it's either harmless or good for you. And it really is going on all day long without you knowing about it, keeping you well, helping you breathe, helping you do so many things, digest your food, make vitamins, fight pathogens, help your immune system, help your cells talk to one another. And it does so many things, from helping your food cravings, helping you to decide what food you want to eat, whether you're going to lose or gain weight. I mean, it is so fascinating. And there's so many new studies about it. And I have a lot of health topics in my book, Cultured Food for Health, and also on my website at culturedfoodlife.com, where I talk about all these different health topics. And it can affect everything from toenails, fungus, to diabetes, to high blood pressure, to cholesterol, to your kidneys. And the research is just astounding to me. And not only do I see a lot of research, I get live stories from people every week and every day people are writing me stories about what it's helped. I had one woman who had a venereal disease from an encounter she had when she was younger, where she was raped, and she'd struggled with it for 12, 15 years and had to take these medications, and sometimes they didn't work, and sometimes they did, and they would flare up, and she was just miserable, and it was affecting her life. And she wrote me and said that she couldn't believe that Kefir had gotten rid of her symptoms and she said for the first time in 12 years, she felt like she was free. And I had no idea that it would help that. And I didn't know that I got a letter this week from somebody who said that their kidney function came back normal when it had been, they have a family history of having kidney problems. And the doctor was just thrilled that it was helping her. And he didn't even know what was happening. But there's a lot of research that says that the kidneys are affected by how much good bacteria you have, because it eats the toxins out of the urea. And as it does that, it increases kidney function because it uses it as a fuel source and gets rid of those toxic chemicals. And so it really helps and assists the kidneys in staying healthy. And there's so many other health topics that it helps. But it even helps your mood. Serotonin is made in your gut, and those feel-good chemicals, bacteria helps you make those good chemicals that helps you to feel good, and it lifted my mood when I was first started. That was one of the first things that happened to me, was I started to feel this sense of well-being that I had never known. And it made everything better for me, because not only were my health ailments going away, but I had this sense of joy, of well-being that I was never going to let go of that, because it was such a wonderful feeling that I never wanted to lose that. And so much of that is going on in our guts. So many psychiatrists now are fixing people's guts before they prescribe them medications, because they're finding if they fix their guts, their problems go away. And that certainly happened for me too. And I've seen that. I've seen that with people who've come to my class. People have told me how much it's helped them. And I didn't even know that it did that for sure. I just know that I felt better. Well, now science is catching up, and it's explaining how it's working. And it's thrilling to me because it's just food. It's not drugs. It's just food, something that you eat every day that's delicious, fun to make, is easy to make, isn't expensive, and you can do it at home in less than 24 hours and make some of these wonderful foods. The next time that you walk into a room or shake someone's hand, remember that you're never quite alone, nor would you want to be without your bacteria friends. Your bacteria footprint goes with you everywhere and changes the environment too. And what are you feeding your good bacteria to help them be healthy? And that's something that I had an experience one time on a plane. A woman had a baby, and the baby was throwing up, and it was all over the woman, and she was really upset. And so I offered to hold the baby so she could go to the restroom and get cleaned up. And when I was getting off the plane, the stewardess thanked me and said, "Oh, I'm so thankful that you did that, and thank you for doing that. And I really hope you don't get the flu." And I looked at her and I said, "I am not afraid of the flu. The flu should be afraid of me. I have lots of helpers that are helping me stay healthy." And of course, they thought I had lost my mind, but I know that my body is always fighting on my behalf, but I take care of it too by taking care of my microbiome. And good bacteria goes with me everywhere. So when you shake my hand, or when you hug me, or when you're around somebody who's healthy, you get their bacteria. And it's interesting. They said even with the people that you share your home with, like my husband was getting it, whether he liked it or not, just because we used the same toothpaste tube and we slept in the same bed and we would kiss and things like that. He was getting it without even realizing that he was getting that. And so I always told him resistance was futile, because he kind of resisted in the beginning. But eventually everybody succumbed to eating these foods, and what a difference it has made. And I try to help people understand that if you change yourself, even if it's just the food you eat, it makes all the difference in not just your life, but the people around you, because you get healthier. Even if you don't eat cultured foods, even if you just eat a lot of fruits and vegetables that are basically fertilizer for your good bacteria and make them grow and multiply by eating lots of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and even grains. And there's all kinds of prebiotic fibers that feed your microbiome, and they change you. If you can't believe how much, like having some leeks for dinner, sauteed, they're like, onions I saute and I use them all the time. They're a huge prebiotic, and they've tested it. And they tested in one meal, you can change your microbiome just by eating some leeks or eating some artichokes or onions. They're all prebiotic fibers, and they allow your good microbes to grow and multiply, and they make you healthy. And when you get healthy, you feel better. And then the people around you get your good bacteria, whether they like it or not. And their stuff gets on you too, but depending on who's the healthiest will rule the day. And so I think it's interesting that we kind of take it for granted. But, one of the things that I do in my classes is I have everybody shake the hand of the person next to them. And then I tell them that they just got 8 million of that person's bacteria. And everybody laughs and thinks it's funny, but it's true. That's exactly what happens. And we aren't aware of it. It's invisible. We can't see it. But what are you giving your neighbor? What are you giving the person sitting next to you? And just by changing yourself, it can make such a difference because you're making the world a better place. And if you really want to get the hang of this, just come hang out with me. Just hang out with me online. Or I have a new class. I just put it on my website yesterday. And I've got a class in Carlsbad, California, which is about 5 minutes from the beach, at this place called the Green Dragon Tavern. And it's a historic place that's an exact replica of a famous tavern in Boston. It's very beautiful and very, very cool. And I'm doing a class there. And I'm going to teach you about the trilogy, which is kefir, kombucha, cultured vegetables. And I'm going to throw in some water kefir and some sourdough breads too, because I love talking about those. But I teach you how to make these foods. Everybody makes a jar of cultured vegetables, so they get to take it home. And then the brine that the cultured vegetables are in, you can use that again to make another jar. And then the next jar, you can use it to make another jar. So everybody gets to learn a skill that they could, last their lifetime, because they get to learn how to do this. They get to take home the jar, and then it can last like 9 months in your fridge. And it's incredibly easy. It's so fun. And I teach you the science. I teach you how it works. We have a good time. We have samples, and it's a wonderful chance to change your life. And I love it so much. We're doing a gourmet lunch there. They're serving a lunch, and it's just one of my favorite things in the world to meet the faces of the people that write me, that buy my products, or that listen to my podcasts. It is absolutely thrilling to me because you guys help me. I love helping you, but I love to see your faces. I love to hug your necks and to see the people that I actually engage with instead of just doing it all over the internet or just, sitting behind a microphone and talking. There's nothing like it. It's life-changing for me too, but it's life-changing for you because you'll learn a skill. And that one skill that I learned to make cultured foods changed my life forever. And it changed my family. And now it's thousands and thousands and thousands of other people I've taught to do this, which came out of my own darkness in my life. And I'm so thankful for that time where I thought my body had betrayed me with sickness and disease. And instead, it was trying to wake me up. And it has changed everything for me. And so if you feel like that, I would love to see you. If you don't, just come hang out with me anyway online. Everything you need is free on my website at culturedfoodlife.com. You just at the top of the page, it says start here. It's got a drop down. You've got kefir, kombucha, cultured vegetables. It tells you how to make them. It tells you how to do it. It's got step-by-step instructions. And I've tried to make it really easy with pictures and because I want you guys to get healthy. I want you to feel what I feel because I was in such despair before I found these foods. And you guys don't know what you're missing if you don't feel good. Your life just changes such incredible ways that you have this energy and you have this joy for life because you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. And it changes everybody around you. And I would love to see an epidemic of wellness instead of everybody being sick. So many people are sick. Even the little kids are sick now. And I would love to see people, set themselves free by learning how to take care of themselves in a way that is surprisingly easy and fun and delicious. And that is what I am all about. I know what it's like to feel bad. And the more I help you, the more I get it back. Because what you put out is what you get back. And if each one of us would start paying attention to the foods that we put in our mouths that make up the cells of our body, would your body change and behave better if it had better fuel? Mine did. Mine changed dramatically. And if you just eat a little bit of these foods every day, even a spoonful of cultured vegetables is a lot. It's more than what you get in a whole supplement bottle of probiotics. And it's just one spoonful. And it's a lot less expensive, and it works so much better because the body knows how to handle it better. The probiotic supplements often get killed in the stomach acids, which is the body's designed to do that. But probiotic foods don't do that because they have a protective halo because they go to the parts of the body really quickly because they're in the form of food. And so they worked so much better for me and my family when we used the foods instead of supplements. And it just saved us thousands of dollars too, because it was so easy to do and very inexpensive. And foods that have like billions of probiotics that will help you digest your food, they help make vitamins, heal and repair the damage in your gut. They make you feel alive. And it makes such a difference in people's lives. And I get so many emails. And I'm just one person. But I'm trying to tell as many people as possible how easy this is and how life-changing it is. And let me read you a few letters here that people send me. I love these letters. They keep me going because I get so many of them. And they're thrilling to me. And these are a couple of the ones that I've gotten. And the first one, she said, "Dear Donna, my son had very severe eczema all over his body. And we were scheduled to see a specialist, but after just a few weeks of Kefir, his whole body cleared of eczema, and he has not had any eczema since January. And it has been a huge blessing." Here's another one. "Dear Donna, my blood pressure dropped from 175/95 to 135/82 after making and using my Kefir for a couple of months. That was about 2 years ago, and now I make my own Kefir and cultured vegetables, and I drink kombucha, your trilogy." That's what we call it, Kefir, kombucha, and kombucha. "It's so good to eat food you know is healthy, and I'm so thankful I don't have to have the drugs." Here's another one. "Dear Donna, I have severe asthma, and last Tuesday there was a huge dust storm in our area that got so bad the visibility was less than a block. At the worst point, I was in an emergency situation out in a dust storm. And long story short, my airway started to close, and once I got inside, I was using everything I knew to keep breathing. Venetol, I'm not sure what these other ones, essential oils, tinctures in my nebulizer, and nothing was working. And then I had this strong desire to drink some brine from a ferment that I had made. I listened to my body and could only get a tiny little sip down before coughing, gagging, and gasping for air. But that tiny little bit helped, and so then I got some more down. And in about 30 seconds, things started calming down. I drank a little more, and then I was able to eat a few of the fermented radishes and mango slices that were in the brine because I was just drinking the juice, and the attack stopped. And I love the little minions that are in my cultured vegetables. And I have another friend that told me her little boy quit using his asthma inhaler. I saw a lady at Whole Foods one day who told me her husband stopped using his asthma inhaler after being on it for 10 years when he started to drink Kefir. And it's a wonderful thing to see these things happen. And it's thrilling to me to know that it's helping so many people in ways I never dreamed or imagined it would help them. And often these stories seem like miracles, but actually for me, it's starting to become the norm. It happens so often, and you can see them on my Facebook page. People share their stories, and it's thrilling to me that so many people are receiving so much help. So, are you ready to try this? If you do want my help, I am here. I am here to help you. I have everything on my site that you need. I have it in my books. I have it on YouTube. I've done everything I know to do. I don't know what else to do. I've got a website. I've got a membership site with extra videos. I've done everything, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. It's everywhere. Always racking my brains trying to find ways to help you. And it's fun. It's delicious. I have hundreds and hundreds of recipes. And you can get started really easy. You can make kefir in 24 hours, and that can last months and months and months in your fridge. And it just takes a jar and a culture and whatever kind of medium you want to use, whether it's non-dairy milk or milk. You can do it either way. And in 24 hours, you can have these foods. And they're sustainable and they're easy to make. So if you would love my help, I would love to help you. And if not, if you're not ready, that's cool too. Because what you seek is always seeking you. And the answers will come to you in the way and time that they're ready for you. But if you do want to hang out with me, I'd love to see you at my class in Carlsbad on October 13th, 2018. We're going to do a lot of fun things. Or you can just hang out on my website or my Facebook page. We try to answer everybody and communicate with everybody. I have a lot of people that help me, and they change my lives too. We all help each other. So I enjoy talking to you on these podcasts, and I hope it will help you. I hope it will educate you, help you understand things about yourself that you never knew. And most of all, I hope it will help you lead a really healthy and blessed life, because you deserve it. You deserve to feel good. Life is so much fun, and you can't go through life not feeling good because you just don't know what you're missing. Have a great week, guys. Thanks for listening.